It's pretty amazing what you can do when you can actually travel so fast and not see anything in that correlation, see everything in that formation site. All right. It's incredible what I just did. I paused space and line center line and kept the time running in position locations. You got 3-minute channels and set lines, high interference and position location directions, but you were still traveling. See? It's amazing how you can actually control everything and anything in all line setting. I wanted to show you what a holographic stream can do to the mine interference in direct locations. Welcome back. All right, setting calculation streamlines is in position location directions. So it's amazing because what I was doing, I was adding moderators to McCall and all levels of Max and today's structures Laura. So I was watching your solar Texas. You guys were going through metric stream settings and holographic locations and epigenetic stream form settings. And I was looking at all levels of these solar graph streams locations. I saw your chats. See how you can do anything in the mind setting? It was fun, wasn't it? Wanted to show you what I can do and be everywhere in all line setting locations. All right, so setting signals and high center line rotation interference. We have that review come up and set locations, and when we come into channel line setting, so zero gravity locations, setting set locations, right? Recognizing timelines, time switch interference. It's in direct locations, right? So we center line setting, really recognize communications, right? Come into the lines, streamlines, a 3-line position, okay? Solar graph line stream set, okay? Recognition timelines, high center, indirect locations into all levels of different travels. So travel communication here, and set locations of here, line setting, rotation, okay? So it comes in all levels of triangulation point settings. It's all levels of travel locations. All right. Recognition line centers comes into a UFO line rotation. Comes into all automatic line settings, into plateaus. All right. Teleport, telepads, calculation streamlines. Flux capacitor line position of velocity locations. Okay. Sending communication into the laser direct line setting and streamlines and rotations. Okay. Process signals in high center line positions into the ground line rotation, set location. All right. Courses channels back up in line setting, high line rotation interference and set location. All right. Opens all channel up in streamlines. Now, when you get in holographic streamline interference, you learn how to use electrical line walls in 3-line position. Okay. Walking surface locations. Your channeling and set lines are here on top of location. That's you at the top. As you go in line center interference, you set position to the laser line position. This is another panel calculation streamline and set locations, which is a portal. Okay. You basically come in position location, you disappear, set in line setting. All levels can be communication rotation. And then you travel here and set location. Right? You reappear here in center line. Just showing you how you can vortex line conditions in all line center rotations and set location. Okay. So recognizing time streams and sight lines and high line rotation interference and position location program settings, knowing how to basically stop position locations, equal lines of space, but keep the time running. And that's what I did. I stopped space, but kept the time running. Okay. Stop space, but kept the time running. Circle line rotation, interference line rotation in line positions. Center calculation streamlines and center line in rotation. All levels of communication circle line settings. Setting communication of flux capacitor set location. Synergized line center line and synergy interference. Center communication in a magnetic line interference line channel. So it's amazing how we set lines in high position location direct line system. So as we come into 24 line setting, you guys come into equal line conditions of 36. Okay. Now testing your communication is 24 lines. I got 24, so I'm going to 30 locations. Okay. Make sure you bracket that line setting. That comes in position to its area code set location. 3 lines and set location of 6, and set locations into 9, and set locations into 10, and 11, and position locations 10 line back force, highest location of 12. Okay. So knowing exactly how to go from 12 to 10 and 10 to 1 is all levels of travel communications. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Travel communication all levels, lacing line communications into half pipe of 6 line setting. Setting rotations, inner line rotation, position location, all levels. Open all track line interference lines locations. Into 12 channels of operational flux capacitor. Into 12 signals, line conditions into 12 million. Into line positions into 12 billion. Into line conditions into 12 trillion in set location. Right at the top line setting. So I just wanted to show you where I could be everywhere in seconds, minutes, hours, and day. Stopping space and keeping time running. It's amazing how you do these locations, right? You never know what's going to happen with general setting. Oh, so you got your 24 line setting, equal locations of 12, 12 line position locations, 12 times XT set lines, setting position of 12 lines in locations. Center lines is 144, track location, the set line interference. Now the 144 comes into new position location ground setting, rotation interference, setting high position locations into a diamond core set. Sets line position of 12 sets. Okay, 12 equals locations into, let's say 12,000 line signature patterns. 3 circle location settings. Okay, so we bracket line centers of 3 position locations over 6, equal locations of 9, crisscross line center locations of 10, into set location. Okay, so we have to really recognize how to use the 24 line settings into 36 locations, right? Holographic line setting. Let's say you get 2 panels of operation streamlines. Let's start with the flux capacitor, right? We'll start off communication of circle and interference and set locations. We'll start off the center operation streamlines and set line and in rotations and set locations into activation setting. Ground line rotation setting. Okay. So the circle line position location comes into all line center interference. Okay. Setting communications to 1 graph stream set. Rotations to another dimensional rotation spin is set line division. Setting division locations comes into this line signal in high interference. High position location crisscrosses line center rotations. Opens all channel operants streamlines and solar graph line settings. Opens a new orb position of channel operation to its enterprise whose calculation set. So these are the things that you can do when you're in the holographic world. Recognition line setting, high line interference. Let's say you got position locations. Let's say this is the chair. Okay, this is the chair. I'm just drawing the structure location. All right, give me a minute here. Okay. So we got Wheaton cycles, high center and line rotations in all different panels of calculation streamlines. So each circle is a representation of a number set. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 zeros lines and all weaving calculation streamlines, setting communications. All right, so platitude visual locations, all levels high center interference, and set locations into its high line position of its chair calculation stream, and set locations all of setting. Okay, there's the chair, right? Recognizing high center line interference is trying to understand the position location of its measure set and all correlation setting. So it recognizes its communication zeros. Let's say we just stay in 4 set locations, all right? 4 sets locations into all setting line interference, another 4 line setting. So 4 times 4 into T line and line conditions is position locations into what line setting? Comes into 8 lines. Okay, 8 lines of 1 million sector communication cycles. Setting communications. So the recognition line setting, the high line interference, is all levels of an octahedron locations in position line directions, all through the chair setting. Recognition timelines is all line position locations. Now it's got its pad and position location to its correlation setting. Okay, and it's got its lacing lines and communication setting and rotation. Okay. So you have to recognize everything that you see is extremely powerful through hologram string sets. This opens all communications to your set lines. So I really want you guys getting your 24 line signatures. Remember, you get the bracket location at 30 location settings. We start with that line, right? So make sure you get 3 line settings, 3 locations, right? You can bring 3 here, set locations, and 3 here, heart, mind, and soul. That recognizes its position location of its directions. Okay? So open up signals is a box line. 3, 3, 3. Higher levels of travel communications. This gets more complicated now because your guys are going to be coming to higher communication cycles in high setting. Okay? Recognition line setting is a graph location of 3 straps. Strap here, strap here, strap here, strap here. So that's 4, 5, 6 hologram structure. Okay? All through 24 signature line settings in a 3-hour code setting. 3 hours. So that's 3-hour line setting. It's 3-hour line setting into 3 division. Okay? Into 3 locations. Okay? So it's really interesting to look at location settings. So hologram structure sets line positions of code weaving cycles, sets line position locations of calculations. So you color it in and set location in hieroglyphic line setting. These are the ideological line rotation interference, epigenetic patterns that opens all communication cycles. Right? So it resets line setting. So every second on the dial set location, if it's a second line setting, it changes direct location to 3 line settings. Okay? It's very complicated, but I'm just trying to show you how you set up. This is how your connections to all of your mainframe sets lines in communication to 3 block settings and rotations. You can open another 3 block location and set locations into higher levels of travels. Okay, setting higher communication settings and rotations to its surface and higher communication rotation interference. Okay, or you can go through a circle line setting. Okay, 3 circle locations. Right. So there's a lot of things you can do in a 3-hour setting. So that 3-hour setting, 1 hour in one position location is 1 million years in space. 1 million years in space. Setting line communications at a level setting. So that's 1 million years in space in 1 hour. Because your capacities are reaching higher line settings. So we're in an interline world. Inter. I-N-T-O. Okay. Interworld. Okay. Of holographic computer stream. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. But I just wanted to show you how powerful it is. You know, you think, oh, where did General go? How is it possible? How is it possible for the stream to still go, but you can't see me? Which means I can be anywhere and everywhere in seconds location. That's how powerful you are from the mind setting. I wanted to show you what General can do. Right? So, you know, I'm everywhere in that set locations, but you were traveling. You were traveling, and I was watching the solar text. Now, I can do that anytime I want. See? You see what that is? It's location to settings. It's very powerful when you come to that location. Just wanted to show you what can happen when you disappear. But you're still there. Okay? All right, so you guys have the weekend to basically get in position locations to your test. Line signal line setting. Line signal line setting and set locations. In this position locations into 3 settings. Okay? So really get into the circle lines, get into the power lines, get into the rotation of magnetic interference, setting communications into 2 panels of space communication. Center generation light streams, you are in the center operation locations. This is you in channel operator streamline. See, it puts you in the center. The recognition set locations puts position location higher levels of travel settings. Okay? Travel communications always on a 45-degree angle until it sets lines in set location of 45% line. So it recognizes its line setting. So in that rotation interference, it sets position location of 5% in set location. Okay? So really recognize what you're doing with the calculation streamlines. I really want you to recognize the power recognition you guys have over line setting locations into your data streams and set locations and program setting. Coming into high line rotations into one position locations, into another position locations, and call setting. Coming into all line center and line rotations, into all communications, into circle location settings. Okay? So recognizing your chakra setting is really opening up the position of the ground settings, the ground levels, communication with the location of 24, set line setting at the bottom locations, right? Circle and rotation, circle and rotation. So that's what it does. It circles up. Now the Infinity 8, when you open that position locations, comes into higher levels of travel into a new flux capacitor. Okay? So when you open the flux capacitor, it puts you in an 8-channel operation. 8 equals 8, 8 equals 9, 9 equals 8, 8 equals 6, crosses signals into velocity, setting calculations into volume, into all levels of acceleration line setting and direct location. So really recognize the connections of what you're doing through travel location settings, all right? This is going to basically open up all levels of patterns. So rotation spin cycles of square lines and another square line to set a location of triangle line setting. 3 line setting interference. So the triangle communication comes into this position, okay? Now this comes into this position, and this comes into this position locations, right? So it's recognizing communications of what it's doing through all line settings. It opens all communication to its rotation cycle, setting communication of its own pi, recognizing its communication of its pi setting, overlooking set locations into its space, its set line in position locations into time. Time is its maintenance set location, its size graph. Okay, size graph setting. Okay, it's really interesting with the location settings, right? So on Monday, your Infinity is going to open up rotations of 8, 8, 8, 8. Okay, the central calculation's got to be split between line center line rotations into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 central communications in set location. Rotation spin cycle in 1 set locations in set line setting. Okay. Rotation spin in set line is going to go in positions to all levels of its flux capacitor position locations. All levels of channel of its ether line setting into your earth line rotation, setting calculation setting in high line position locations. Okay. Rotation spin cycle is going to correlation set lines, and position line direction is going to go to highers of channel operated streamlines in position. Now, the central communication has block channels highline in rotations into levels. So this is kind of like a capsule in set line and space line in communications. Okay. So it's interesting to look at location settings. Recognizing your position, your throat pattern, and what it is through colossal channel. This is your throat location. Okay. So everything is in panel communications. Here and here in line setting. Okay. Recognizing communication as well as a wireline setting, electrical lights, in both side position, how you guys are set up. Setting communications all levels. The center operation line setting has its own flux capacitor and set location. All right. Center communication, it's set lines. Okay. Center communication setting and high line rotations to its position location of its travels and high generation light streams and high line settings in position location to its calculations to your tree formation line stream. Okay, comes in this position location directions. Okay, setting calculation streamlines opens all line travels in your set line setting. Opens all position location to calculation set in circle line rotation and magnetic highway information line cycles in set location. Okay. So there's a lot of recognition of time settings. It's knowing exactly how to connect all line position. So you got an 8 central line unit. So 8 locations equals locations into bracket locations into 1 0 equal locations into 3 0 line settings, bracket line setting interference, setting communications to flux capacitor, line position location of circle Fibonacci, lines another Fibonacci sequence location. Now, once you get into that position location, round it off line setting in high interference. So the next 10,000 line position scans the center line settings, all position location of ground center rotation. As it goes into ground line interference, it sets position to another UFO line rotation, grounds another line setting, opens another crop circle location to its set lines. Okay, comes in communications, right? Scans line centers in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, recognizing where you are in correlation, right? So there's a lot of things you can do with your formulas when you come in your holographic streamlines or anything through alphabetical vibration stream locations, voicing channel and position locations. Okay, so as you come into position locations, right, that's your voice. Scans line centers of 0, 0, 0, 1. Set positions of 0, 0, and position of 3. Okay, as it's scanning settings, that's their true understand location. A holographic line center changes the lines in interference in 3 line settings. Okay, it voices grid locations into a box position location to its equal line, infinite line rotations to its Merkabah set lines into 4 line settings. Rotation spin cycle comes into its own position location of its triangulations and 3-point settings. All right. So you got 3 line settings, 6 line here, 9 line here, 8 line here, and position locations. You can set 12 line center rotations here in position. So recognizing your voice grid settings is really understanding how to set location your hologram location settings. This understands more levels of view. Your tracker setting location is 0 line. In one position of 2, we got into 3, we got into 4, we got into 5, we got into 6, we got into 7, and now you come into 8 line setting in rotation. Okay, so this is all it is. This is where you're coming into. That's all. But see, the thing is, 1's here, 2's here, 3's here, 4's here, 5's here, 6's here, 7 there. Okay, so it's a rotation spin, rotation spin, rotation spin, rotation spin, rotation spin, rotation spin, rotation spin. Okay, so the recognition line centers, 3 line center rotations here, the set locations, 2's over here, 1's over here, 4's over here, 5's over here, 6 over here, 7 over here, the set location. So you have to start recognizing your line streams of communication, holographic line settings. This is one graph line setting. So you can have a billion zeros in set locations. So the zeros travel like this on line screen. Okay, set lines in interference line position. Now the zeros are line position locations, all of those. Setting up a rainbow wash and set locations into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 line signature line settings. Now the line setting locations comes into an X2000 or a UFO set location. As it comes in position location, it scans the 1 line streams in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line stream set locations. See how powerful that is? So it's all about understanding recognition of line conditions, guys. It's very powerful when you get into that position locations. It's all correlated to all levels of zeros. 0 is line positions to equal line conditions, equal line position locations to all levels into its quasar set locations of its equal setting. Okay, but I think it's very powerful when you come into that. And then when you come into the channel operator streamlines, you come into this position locations, into this system, starting off location. All right, so once you understand the box line, it opens up levels of higher channels of operator stream locations. See, pretty amazing when you set up your own hologram instruction line. Okay, so you got the waterfall calculation, you got the box line centers, and you got the 0 line position, all through your voice and grid settings. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do. The UFO is there through identification streamlines. You have the UFO line rotation. Let's start with that line settings. Now it volumes in so many line connections, 0 gravity interference. Okay, so it's scanning in 3 position locations. All right, so it has its center line and its pi. That's just split up in position of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, 1 line setting sets line over this way, cross line conditions. 4 positions crosses over this line setting. 3 line position locations into 2 panel line setting, and 2 rotations to all level calculation. right? So you have one going one way, one going the other way, right? But it's always, 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 always in balance on both sides of calculation. Always, 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 always balance on both sides of location. Okay? So recognizing your stream sets is where you understand the holographic line positions. This is where you come into the epi. Okay? The epi channel, channel line setting is all levels of visual locations. This opens all visual locations to the alpha setting, equalizes the high center interference of delta calculations to its beta, beta to all line position at 0, which is its set locations, crosses signal to another 0 line setting. Now the 0 line position comes into higher communications into all levels of dimensional line setting to another dimensional signal. That opens all position locations into line connections, 3 line setting rotations. Setting communications to a full circle rotation opens up another panel. That panel opens up another line center location to its atmosphere lines in locations. Now you can go from atmosphere, hemisphere, bioatmosphere, stratosphere, hemisphere line settings, or anything to the vibranium. Atmosphere eco locations. Let's go into the high center locations in the bio. Set locations to line center. So the I line setting sets line position locations all over the system. Okay, this is where you come into the biochemistry set. Now, chemistry set lines into mixture patterns comes into galaxy shift lines. Galaxy shift here, galaxy shift here, and galaxy shift here in center location. All right, the rotation spin cycles sets lines in a high line rotation spin line. Now that spin line crosses its signals into its position to its own flux capacitor. Rotation spin cycle sets location to its epi channel of operation setting. Okay. Recognizing communication settings. So it's a lot more fun when you understand the ground lines and how to use all correlations to its set lines. It's interesting when you come into that position, location, direction settings. All right, so let's say you got a planet charge and rotation surface and 2 line settings at 2 circle locations. All right, so you got an open portal in position line directions, all levels of high setting, and you got a graph stream in a line rotation in position line directions. Center communication is center lines, opens all position location of its direction. Center communication comes into 8 line settings and set locations. So that comes into 8 equal locations of 9. Energy wash sets lines in communication to all position location of directions to a hologram structure in set location. Okay. Recognizing wave central line settings. Okay. So you really have to wonder how this is all set up. Why do we use 9? It's an energy wash. What is an energy wash? It's a rainbow wash. What is a rainbow wash? It all lines its position, location, all direct line setting. Now you can set locations into a half pipe. Okay, there's a half pipe line setting, right? So it recognizes in 12 DNA line streams and set locations, right? Travel locations into 6 eco lines and galaxy line position to its moon setting rotation. Okay. So you have to really recognize what you're doing through your chakra lines. You know your 0 gravity locations, how you can channel on so many line zeros, 0, 0 bracket location settings, and you got velocity set locations into equation. Equation set lines in equal location of velocity, velocity into volume, and set line setting. Now, when you get them into 0 gravity, go to line cross locations, size graph line interference, downshift position locations, all levels. This opens all communications into north, west, south, and east. Setting communication of compass in 1 side line settings into 3 line setting rotation. Setting communication into 12 line rotation and interference. Now, everything that I'm saying is all coordinated. It's already in bound set location. You just have to learn how to set lines in 12 line signals, equalines into 12 million, and set lines of bracket locations of 2-0 location. Now the 2-0 location automatically becomes 2 setting and set locations, right? The operation set location crosses over into position lines that equalizes its communications on a line position locations into 5 channels of operation stream sets. Now 5 stream sets comes in position locations into 1 line setting, into 2 line positions, equal locations of 5 equal locations of 7 line settings. Okay, rotation spin cycle sets line position location all levels into its metric communication into its diamond line setting. So very complicated in location settings all through Vega. All right. So it's recognizing all communications through your formulas and how to set signals in all position location directions. All right. How's everybody doing? Fun class today, eh? Things are going to get really interesting from here on in. Traveling the Fibonacci world, painting behind general. It's so fun. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? All right, so we got airbender calculations. We got Peanut communication settings. We got Geneva. We got Andy. We got Jill. We got Tina. We got Gypsy. Let's see, Guardian. Eric. Whoa, Eric. Eric, you got to be updated setting. You got to get your chakra settings open, location setting, interference. Got you get it you in your test review and evaluation. All right, and communication settings, all levels, interference. Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Oh, I can hear you guys. Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are singing. Happy birthday. Thank you. Let's see. Gingy, calculation, setting, interference, setting position locations. Jen Rocks. Heather. That was fun though, eh? You didn't expect that. We never know what's going to happen with general on everyday locations when you do lives. So, northwest, south, and east, diamond core, 8888. Rotating and yin and yang. Very good, Jill. You have to get balance with that setting. Yeah. I know. Everything's changed, guys. So you just have to really understand how to balance these things out. It was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, it's incredible as you come to the locations. Yep. Yeah, Johnny, your line center location is 11 and set line in position of DC. Underscore that's location of VR, line position locations. We're going into space lyrics into music. All right. Space lyrics into music. Okay, that's your set locations. And then you can put Merlin, underscore Merlin, or Avatar, whatever you want to do. But that's your position locations, all right? Setting communications, the levels of point setting. You got 2 point set locations of 3 triangle sets. There's only 3 there, right? There's a triangulation right there. Okay, now this gets more complicated. You have to wonder why these are open signals, right? These are open signals for sonar panels. So it opens all signal locations and set lines and electrical light connections. 3 line positions into different direct locations. Very complicated if you don't know what it is. So what you're doing is you're creating maps through all triangulations of shape lines. So you got 3 line settings. So that's 3 position locations, equal line conditions into 3. Equal locations into all 7 locations. 6, 0, 0, bracket location. Okay? So you really have to understand how to bracket these things because it's all connection array code. So you can have a 3 line setting location of 6. All right, or you can have a 6 line position. 6 is at the top. 6 crosses over. 7 equal location of 6 line setting. Okay. So the 6 becomes its loop communication, crosses streams lines into a positions to a half pipe. Half pipe 6 lines, it inner lines its position location, equal locations into 12. Zip zap zoom correlation down to shoot line center interference and position of UFO location. All right, so there's a lot of things that you can do if you understand how to use formulas. Right? Recognizing time switches is truly powerful stuff because you're coordinating your line string locations when it comes into all sets. All right. Tina, you're 11. Okay, 0.5. Okay. Underscore set locations VR underscore floater. Okay. 11.5 VR floater. Okay. All right, setting communication is to understand how to use travel position of time setting. This opens the light. So let's say you go through diamond core set locations into 3 sets. Now, 3 sets location is all about, this is going to get a lot more complicated because you guys are reaching higher line connections, right? So this point system to go here in that set line, but this position location goes back here in that set line. This is a half pipe and 6-line communication to its moon setting. Okay. So recognizing communication as well as set locations. Now you can come into 6 lines, equal line connections into 1 equal line connections into 1, 6 in locations, bracket is line setting. You have to bracket if you're in a 3-digit platform communication. Bracket is extremely important. When you come to my line setting, you don't need to bracket these things because the X8000 knows exactly where they are through panels. They know exactly where they are through boxes and communications into its position of its cubicle setting. Okay. So yeah, make sure you put in decimal 5, Tina. All right. So I really want you to understand how you guys are coming more into communications to your vessels now. The travel communication line setting is all about understanding how to use this in position locations. This is an S-line channel. An S-line channel. Where's the line? Where's the channel? Well, the communication line setting is right here. There's the line, right? So it has an open signal, set locations through UFO line rotations, travels here, and set location. As it's traveling here, it centers its set lines into scan position. As it scans, it rotates its open cycles and high line rotation interference in position. Right? It gets more complicated when you come into letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. It's all about all lines of communications. Now the channel line can come into this position locations over here and scan this line conditions over here in this line direction. So you got 2 panels in 0, 0, 1. You got 2 lines into 3. So you have to really recognize why you're using the connections to its data stream sets. 4, 5. Okay, so there they are in different line directions. Okay, so what happens is the 0 lines come in rotations, circles its setting. 0 comes into 0, comes into 1, the set location comes into 2, comes into 3, comes into 4, and comes into 5. So it circles and circles and circles. Okay? So as it's circling, it goes in center location here, right? So once it goes into the center, it becomes its own position of block line setting. See the block? So we get another UFO coming in this line setting, center location right here, which is a bigger unit, bigger UFO set location, right? As it comes in, it scans what you just finished doing, an all line position. Now, when it scans line setting, it comes into its own cubicle line setting of its own tesseract line setting rotations to its position. So the center operation is its circle lines of what you created in center line position to your tetrahedron, octahedron, or your Merkaba or your tesseract locations, center calculations, right? So it's really interesting. The zeros represent locations that code within settings. The reason why we have crop circles is to create hologram structures in the center location. Once it's set up in the center location line settings, the X8000s or the UFO picks up the position location of its box, and what you just finished creating. It's all levels of information to its set location. See? And there, beams it up, and then zip, zap, zoom, back to the moon setting location. Okay? So that's why we have crop circles, is create hologram structures. Information panels of 0 line settings through pi calculation stream sets. So it's very powerful when you come into that setting. Okay, it's something to look forward to. But it's extremely complicated if you don't understand the connections to your tracker set locations. Okay. So the holographic line setting is all position locations. When you get in position of this direct line settings, it's all of the calculation streamlines. Okay. It's all centered set locations. So the whole idea is here is when they're scanning things, is recognizing your pi and what are you creating through your pi. Okay, what are you creating through your pi? So when you're creating these things, you're creating something from ground setting to circle locations, right? This is what you just finished creating, set location. You created that, right? So that teleports in position to the center lines, zip, zap, zoom, back to the moon set location. Okay? So the reason, so it's kind of like the crop circles are the ground setting, line interference, position locations, electrical lights and routes, and calculation stream sets. So it comes into a new ground operation cycle and set location to new space command setting. So you have to really recognize the importance when you get the information cycles, right? So what it is, it's an information panel. Okay, it correlates its division line setting. So what you're doing is you're just creating things from your Merkaba to set lines of communication to rotation cycles in high generation light settings and high rotation interference, indirect locations to its position of its directions to all levels of channel operator streamlines in a correlation panel, operation communication setting to all position line directions into its tesseract line setting. Very complicated. So again, this is what you see. Scans position into the center. Opens up the ground. Has to open up the ground. As it's opening up the ground, it's looking what you did through shapes anomalies. So it's picking up the shape lines and setting line interference. So you got 3 line settings. You got 6 in position. You got 7 here. You got 8 here. You got 9 here. You got 10 over here. And you got 12 right here. Set location. Right? So it gets complicated, right? So everything that you are connected to is in line setting. Using the holographic line setting is all positions. Also, too, the UFOs can set up an energy wash streamlines and cover all communication number lines and rotations and protect all line positions to its ground setting of operation cycles and high setting. Okay, so it sets up a wave cycle and set locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's start with 7 line connection. Okay, there's the mesh. Right? So as you're setting that up, the alpha line center change line communications into delta. See, alpha, delta, theta, beta, and omega have to be in all position location rainbow sets. So you get delta, and then you got position of omega, setting communications into all set locations. The waving central line communication, the videograph line interference. So the alpha channel comes into delta, delta and omega, then it comes into theta, and set locations into high set interference and direct locations. Division line setting, rotations into calculation stream sets all communication operations to perception locations into systematic line centers at computer operation. Okay? So it's a lot more fun when you understand what you are doing through holographic line settings. It's incredible when we come into that locations, right? So you guys have a lot of recognition time setting. Those time setting line in their rotation interference is seconds on the dial. Seconds position locations. Okay, you got seconds equal locations into minutes, into hours, and into days location, right? So the seconds line center line position of 0 equal locations of 9, right? So the central communication is set locations of 9 equal locations of 0, okay? So it's interesting to look at these settings. So know you exactly from 0 to location of 9 and 9 position location of 0, you know exactly how to go forward and you exactly know how to go back in location, right? Center calculations all levels how you go this way and how you go that way, right? So half pipe and set lines of 2 line settings is 6 over 6. Okay, bracket 6 line setting sets position locations into 12 cycles of high setting. Okay, so we have to start recognizing our communications when it comes into your line settings to its position locations, all communications to your pyramids of pi. Okay. Peace that passes all understanding, Omega style. Yeah. I just want you to really recognize these things from all levels, from 0 to 9 and 9 to 0, how to go forward and backwards, right? So you can create anomalies and high center interference. Okay. So it's very complicated if you don't understand what I'm doing. To understand what you're doing is understood of knowing. Okay. So the knowing is already set locations, right? Like this morning, who thought communication setting interference? I can basically pause the space line and keep the time running, or even stop. It's amazing when you can know exactly what you're doing. You can do these things on certain line communication settings, and it's all automatic. Okay, it's all automatic. All right. So once you understand the recognition of timelines, you can really understand the split communications in 3-line settings, right? Because that's all you're working with. This is all you're working with, the 3 sets. You got your position locations, your past reference. You got your center line communications, which is your presence, and you got your future setting, right? So recognizing the timelines, your flux capacitor, setting calculations, setting calculations, setting calculations, setting calculations, right? Setting calculations, all of the travel line settings going forward in position lines, stopping position locations and set lines of the timeline, keeping your timeline going in set locations, but pausing space in a certain timeline stream. So there's 3-minute line setting in set locations and high center interference set location. All right. That's all I got. It said 24, but I only got 3-minute settings, but it kept running. And you guys saw everything. I saw this. I saw the solar direct line settings. I saw their solar stream locations and the board of communication, which is amazing. So recognizing your times and position line interference is putting you guys in higher probability location sets. So it's going to get more complicated now, right? Because you're now in the inner world line centered at the holographic stream location of the epigenetic setting line interference. The organic is no longer in existence. The set line position is into the elliptical line setting. Elliptical equine condition of 0, 0, 1 is set locations into velocity over channel. Equal location of velocity over channel sets lines in time. Is set line in a rotation. Position locations into 48 window sets. Set lines of 72 computers. Setting communication to all rotations to a Stargate setting and travel location. So there's a lot of things to recognize and how powerful we are and what we can do through our travel communication settings, right? Picked up the telepathy last night, so glad you're here. Yep, it's great to see Eric. If you want your upgrades and up downloads and line settings, let me know, okay? So I think that's good, guys. You did extremely well. Amazing travels. Can't hear and wait to what you have to say about everything that's going on with your holographic stream settings, your interline world and communications, the process calculation streamlines and set locations into Atlantis and communications all levels of Lemuria and rotations of its yin and yang process set location. Adios, everyone.